Hey guys, on today's video we're going to discuss how to live in the moment and also the secret to true happiness. So that and more coming right up. So welcome. You know, the secret to true happiness isn't living in the past. It isn't worrying about tomorrow, but it's actually living in the moment that we're in right now. And so many of us find that hard to do. I know I have. I've struggled with it my entire life because I'm always anxious about what's going to happen tomorrow, and I'm working toward something in the future. And a lot of times we miss what's right in front of us. So that's what I want us to talk about today. And if this is your first time joining me, my name's Tom Folks, and this is my channel, Moving Forward with Tom. And on this channel, we discuss not only what it feels like to live with anxiety and depression, but also some things that we can do to move forward past those feelings so that we can live just a happier life. So how is it that we can move forward and learn to live in the moment? The first thing that I thought of when I started writing this was one word that came to mind was forgiveness. And you're thinking, what does forgiveness have to do with living in the moment? Well, it has a lot to do with it. Because if we are constantly living with regret of things that maybe we've done and we haven't forgiven ourselves, or things that other people may have done to us and we haven't forgiven them for, and you've heard people say, well, I'm going to forgive you, but I'm not going to forget. Well, if that's the way that you're feeling, if you're not forgetting, you're not truly forgiving. Because to truly forgive, you've got to forget too. You have got to get that off your mind, because if not, your mind is going to be controlled by this feelings that you're harboring against someone else, and you're not forgiving them, or you're not forgiving yourself. So to enjoy the present moment that you're in, you're going to have to practice forgiveness. And that brings me to point number 2. And point number 2 would be live a simpler life. I spent so many years trying to buy happiness, and the more you buy, the more you want, and the more you have, the more headache you have. Because I used to love motorcycles. Well, I would build a chopper, and I think, well, I need a bagger too, so then I would get a bagger. Well, I need something that I can just bar hop in, so I needed to get one of those. Before I knew it, I had 3 or 4 motorcycles, and guess what? I couldn't enjoy any of them because I was constantly worried about, number one, how am I going to pay for all these toys that I've bought? Number 2 is you can only ride one motorcycle at a time. But we do this to ourselves. We do it with our homes, our cars, so many things that credit card debt people are in over their head, basically because we all live above our means. And we need to really just step back and live a simpler life, because it's robbing us of today. Because we're constantly worried about tomorrow and constantly worried about, well, I've got to make money to pay for all this stuff. But if we just simplified our lives, we could actually enjoy a lot more of what we already have and declutter our lives with stuff. And the next thing that we need to look at is enjoying the moment. So what do I mean by that? Well, I'm reminded of a story in the Bible about Martha and Mary. And if you're not sure of who Martha and Mary are, Martha and Mary were the sisters of Lazarus, which Jesus raised from the dead. And Martha and Mary invited Jesus to their home for dinner. Well, Martha was doing all the work. Martha was preparing dinner and running around, and we've all seen it. I've seen my mother do it my whole life, running around to make sure everyone else is taken care of. Well, her sister Mary was sitting at the feet of Jesus and listening to his teachings. Well, after a while, it ticked off Martha. So Martha went up to Jesus and says, hey, I'm doing all the work here. My sister's sitting here at your feet. Tell her to get up and help me. And Jesus said something very profound, and it resonates with me in my life, because I'm more of a Martha. I'm more of the person that doesn't know how to sit still and enjoy life at times. As he said, Martha, Martha, you are so worrying about everyone else that you're missing the point of what's going on. And your sister Mary gets the point. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but that's pretty much what he says. She was in the moment of listening to Jesus' teachings, which would last her forever, and Martha's concerned with that one very meal that she's trying to feed everyone. How many times are we Marthas? Do we not enjoy the moment because we are running around like chickens with our heads cut off while everyone else is enjoying their time, and then it makes us angry because they're having a good time and not helping, just like Martha? Sometimes we need to stop because life is unfolding before us, but we're missing it because we're so busy. Stop being so busy. Take time to smell the roses and enjoy the moment that you're in right then. But another thing that we do is we live in the past. We live with past regrets. We live with failed relationships that we just can't get off our mind, and we'll Facebook stalk somebody to see what they're doing now, and we just keep living in the past. We can't live in the past and enjoy our present. It's impossible because we're constantly looking back, and when we look back, all that's doing is robbing today. And I've seen people also do the same thing with accomplishments. They'll look at things that they've done in the past that they've accomplished, and they'll stop there and they'll live there. And they won't add anything else to their lives because they're living in the past. We cannot live in the past our entire lives, whether it be good or bad, because it's going to do nothing but make us stuck where we are right then, to where we cannot enjoy the present. And I'm telling you, until we can learn to enjoy the present day that we're living in right now, we're always going to have anxiety because we're always looking back or we're looking forward, but we're never looking at right now. And number 5, bringing that up, is worrying about tomorrow. You know, Mark Twain said something pretty profound, and he says, "I've known a great many troubles, but most of them never happened." And I think, man, that's so me. How many times have we worried and worried and worried about something that's going to go on in our lives, and it doesn't even happen? But we spent days, weeks, hours, months worried about something that never even came to fruition. We have got to stop worrying about tomorrow and living in today. I can remember going on vacations at time when I had my own business, and I would look so forward. I said, man, I'm just burnt out. I need to get away. But my whole time I was on vacation, what was I doing? I was worrying about what was going to happen to the store the next day with me not being there. What would happen? It ruined my vacation. So I wasn't living in the moment. My family was going on and enjoying their vacation, and here I am constantly staring at my cell phone and constantly sending texts and constantly making phone calls. We cannot do that to ourselves. We can't do that to our loved ones and people around us, because that in itself compounds our anxiety to where we never catch a break. But we do it to ourselves. Other people don't do this to it. We do it to ourselves. When we become mindful of the present moment, then the worries of tomorrow just melt away. We need to start living in the moment. Ellen Langer, she's a psychologist at Harvard, and she wrote the book Mindfulness. And she wrote, when people are not in the moment, they're not there, but they don't know they're not there. And that's true, because you're not in the present, but you don't realize it because you're not there. Your mind is somewhere else. You're floating off either to yesterday or to tomorrow, and we're not enjoying today. If you really want happiness in your life, be mindful of where you are right now. Be mindful of what you're doing today, because tomorrow is going to take care of itself, and it's going to go on with you or without you. The past we can never change. It's already happened. It's the past. I think of Rafiki in The Lion King. He goes, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. And it is. It's in the past. We can't worry about it. We can't change it. So if you want to make the most of your time, lose track of it. lose track of time, and enjoy the moment. And you will live a much, much happier life. So that's all I got for you today, but I would love you to continue to take this journey with me simply by hitting the subscribe button, turning on notifications, and if you got value out of this video, hit the like button so that others can know that you enjoyed it, and YouTube will share this video. So until next week, just do one thing for me, and that's just keep moving forward.